welcome to the Royal Exchange Matchday Live. Well, our first technical error comes in a record time. It took about 5 seconds to get that one out of the way. Fingers crossed it's the only one. Richard Dorman at Matchday Stadium here alongside Dan Wimbush, who is in deepest, darkest Berkshire. Hi, Dan, how are you?
Richard, absolutely great to be with you. I am fine. Thankfully, everyone here is healthy, safe and well. I'm just so excited because football is back. That's what we've waited 3 months for, and it's here.
Absolutely. And, it's been a long wait. Were you one of these people who was watching the K-League as soon as it came onto BBC?
Yeah, and there was at the Belarusian league, I think it was as well, continuing on. Yes and no. Obviously, in the first few weeks, things were a bit scary, and you sort of sport took a real sort of back seat. But the last few weeks, when the Bundesliga has been back, the Premier League coming back, it's just really whetted the appetite. But it's not the same. You really need your Reading fix. I mean, I think this is the longest we've been without Reading Football Club in my lifetime. So I can't wait for this game to kick off. Obviously gutted. You've got one of the best seats in the house. I think there's 15,000 Reading fans out there would love to swap place with you right now and be in the ground. But it's going to be great to follow along. It's great that we get to see all these games, and hopefully the noise from our living rooms and offices will carry through.
Quick question: which was your Bundesliga team?
It's Düsseldorf.
It had to be, didn't
because
it?
Isn't it Düsseldorf? I think is twinned with Reading.
You got it. Well, as you say, I'm lucky enough to be here in the stadium covering the match, which is it's a bright day. The Stoke goalkeepers are out. I'm very much a silhouette against the bright backdrop. You and everyone else will be watching on iFollow. Just a quick reminder of how you can watch the game. If you're an iFollow Royals, if you're a season ticket holder, you can watch online for free. And make sure you check your inbox or your SMS and redeem that code quickly. Other supporters can get a match pass for £10. Just go to the readingfc.co.uk website and make sure you follow those instructions. And if you need any help, you've got to email ifollow@efl.com and they'll support you through the process. The only exception, of course, if you haven't received a code at all, I know you have, Dan, thankfully. You sent me a message to say you had. If you haven't received that code, get in touch with our ticket office, ticketing@readingfc.co.uk. You're cutting it a bit fine by now, but do make sure you get in touch to get that code and get it redeemed. It's all quite easy too. If I can just do a little demo for you as well. All you do, get onto the club website. You'll see the match centre. Open that up. And Dan, you might not be able to see exactly what I'm talking through now, but you'll get once you're logged into iFollow, you get this big watch live now button. It couldn't really be much more simple, and that will load up. And I believe it's all going ahead now. You can see what the likes of Tim Della's got to say on BBC Berkshire. Ooh, beg your pardon, more technicals. Well, should we take a look at the team news, Dan?
Absolutely, it's what we've waited for.
What we've waited for, indeed. In goal is expected Raphael. It's likely to be a back four of Chris Gunter on the right. On the left will be Omar Richards with Michael Morrison and Liam Moore in centre half. An attacking midfield three in every sense of the word. John Swift, Ovie Ejaria and Michael Elise. And we're expecting Jordan Abita to push up the left-hand flank. Yaku Meta on the right. And of course, Lucas João leading the line, which is great to see, isn't it, Dan?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of the few benefits that we've had to this break is that everyone's been able to get themselves maybe not match fit, but physically fit to play. I mean, João was a massive miss when we had our really good bit of form sort of around the turn of the year. He was a key part of that. And after he got injured, we kind of lost our way a little bit. So fantastic he's back in the mix, and to be able to bring on George Puskás from the bench as well just shows the kind of depth that we've got. And of course, you've got the extra substitutes available as well. You've got 5 that you can use in these games for the rest of the season, and a 9-man bench as well. So loads of options. I can't wait to see Masika come off the bench as well, a bit of pace as well. So loads of great options. I say great to see João back involved.
Well, you mentioned a couple of points there. Number one, Lucas João was he's a very different type of striker. In the last few years, can you think of anyone at Reading who has kind of his combination of qualities, or is he a unique case for your point of view?
I mean, he's quite unique, but Reading throughout our purple patches over the years, but we've had those kind of focal point strikers. When you look back at our last championship, when you had Jason Roberts, who was able to hold the ball up and bring other people into play. Before that, under Alan Pardew, Nicky Forster, a different kind of player, a bit more sort of pace and drag defenders around for others. but and you've had Shane Long, who's led the line on his own as well, and it just gives you that different element as well. It gives you that unpredictability, someone that can go and compete with quite a physical team in Stoke. So it's good to see he's back. Of course, the big thing that we've been seeing it through the Bundesliga returning, the Premier League returning, all the competitions that are coming back now, is it's the match sharpness is the last thing to come back. These guys are professional athletes. They've done a fantastic job even in lockdown of keeping themselves fit in the back garden and in the limited exercise you've been allowed. But it's just that little bit of sharpness. It's getting used to, you know, someone running off around the back of you. So I think I was looking at one of the first Premier League games came back, the Villa Sheffield United game, and one of the key stats that was down was interceptions. So it just kind of shows that teams, you're just not used to those situations, and it will take a while, but hopefully get sort of half an hour under the belts. Maybe, you know, dream scenario, nick an early goal, and that will relax everyone. I know John Swift was talking about in the Portsmouth friendly the other day, just getting that early goal just settled everybody back down and made things feel natural. So fingers crossed we can get that and flow from there.
You've touched on a couple of other things too, Dan, which is, you know, number one, the substitutes, you know, the limit being raised is proven quite useful across the continent. But one of the things I touched on right at the start too is that that midfield three is quite surprising. There's no shuttler, there's no sort of defensive midfielder amongst there, but you know, the likes of Michael Elise, John Swift have shown themselves capable of doing it as well to an extent.
Yeah, it's the modern day quarterback, isn't it? You know, sort of pinging passes around. Charlie Adam did it as well a bit earlier in the season. He's on the bench against his former club as well to come on and do that role. I really need a little bit more sort of a defensive mindset. But no, what we love as fans is seeing attacking football, and you can't accuse Mark Bowen of picking a defensive-minded team. I mean, look at it, you know. Players like a Beta can really sort of get forward and whipping crosses. You've got Mate, who's much more of a striker than a midfielder, cutting in, and you know he's popped up with some crucial goals over the past couple of years as well. So there's lots of threats. I really like what I've seen from Elise so far. It's great to have a young player coming through the academy to get behind, and he's got such a bright future as well. So great to see him given that opportunity, and this gives us a glimpse of hopefully down the line. Although, you know, you look at the table, I'm sure we'll talk about it later. This season isn't over yet. You know, anything can happen. Who knows how teams are going to return from this? We're only 8 points off the plus. We could be within 5. Well, I know just 5 points at the end of today.
Absolutely. Well, I know that the skipper Liam Moore and the manager Mark Bowen, they're both targeting that push up the table and see where we can finish in these last 9. And let's hear what they had to say in the week. We asked you about 3 months ago about build up to Stoke City and what kind of opposition they'll provide and stuff. A club you know well, and I'm sure you fully know what to expect out of a high quality squad and a squad that will be tough to beat.
Yeah, and everybody, I'm sure that they're not unlike us. You know, we had a friendly game against Chelsea in the week, and I found out after the game that I think Chelsea did a phone call from Derby and from Stoke wanting a video of the game sent through to them. You know, so everybody's trying to find out what the other clubs have been doing and how they are fitness-wise and with their testing regimes and everything. So, yeah, it'll soon, everything will come to light soon enough. We've just got to make sure, as I say, that we get to next Saturday, and we'll have a break after next Saturday, a full week before the next game. But so, all the more important to hit the ground running and make sure we're mentally and physically right for the game against Stoke.
And lastly, I guess this got a full week of build-up exactly for that one game, haven't you? So it's all this hard work's in the bank now, and now it's the actual focus on the game for it, which is great.
Yeah, and it's new because, you know, how many times over the years, you know, do you have, you know, maybe teams are guilty in the past of starting a new season and you know, you build yourself into the season. I think any club now, you know, Premier League and the Championship, you can't afford to play yourself or build it up slowly. You've really, from the first minute of the first game, you've got to be at it physically, mentally, for the demands of it, and try and get that momentum and create that momentum for yourself that takes you through those 9 games.
As well, I think it's been really important that the whole group have been like total pros throughout and embraced a lot of the weirdness and the kind of unknown as well. Everyone's sort of attacked it and been really positive about it.
Yes, really proud of the group. I said before, everybody come back in good condition, so that's already a positive. But without obviously saying too much, because it's the games that count, we're in a good place. It's just about transferring it, as I keep saying now. Saturday comes, let's try and tick off 3 points and go again.
It was about 100 days ago or so that we were preparing for Stoke originally, and so I guess to an extent that preparation's still valid. You know, you still know the players, even if there's not quite that kind of build-up in there would have been otherwise.
Yeah, as all players in the league, you know them well. There'll be a few changes here and there. They might have had a chance to get a few players back fit, but we know what to expect, and it's about bringing what we can to the table, trying to nullify their threats, and yeah, leaving it all out on there Saturday. And it's, like I say, it's all about the 3 points.
And Stoke and Reading were two teams that went into the lockdown period, both on some pretty good form. And Stoke had a bad start, but had really picked up. That you can see that it's not an easy one to start back by any stretch, is it?
No, look, they're in a position as well that they need to get themselves out of. So it's the same situation as it was over 100 days ago. They're fighting for their lives. We're fighting to push up the table. We expect a really tough encounter, but one we're ready for.
Well, good luck on Saturday. Thanks, Lee.
Thank you, mate.
Well, it's a weird world we're living in now. I know that you've embraced the change, Dan. You've got yourself at home in your kit and ready to watch it from there. And it's good to see that the players and the team have done exactly the same thing. You know, they've embraced everything that's been thrown at them, and it's the only thing you can do in this scenario.
Absolutely, and throughout this, you know, they've done great work with the community. They've, you know, players have stayed engaged with fans, and it's just been, you know, this crisis is horrible, and my thoughts go out to everyone who's been suffering and anyone who's lost anybody through this. But one of the real positives is it's shown the best in people, and it's great. It's kind of brought us back together as a community, and no place better to bring us back than around the theatre of dreams that is Matchday Stadium today. Although again, we can't all be there, but it's great just knowing you're sort of part of a communal event again. You know that everybody, whether it's, you know, huddled around a laptop or watching on your phone, everybody sort of tuned in, and we've got that sort of, we've got our community back. We've got that our tribe. The Reading tribe is back in gear.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You probably feel it most on a match day where you normally need to be here at Matchday or, you know, on the road. Are you someone who likes to go to those away games, Dan, if you can?
When I was younger, I certainly did. Now family life and shift work it's taken a lot away from me, so I can't go away as much as I can. But yeah, I mean, just, you know, I always meet up with my dad outside the mega store before the game, and we do a lap of the grounds, and, you know, you go in and you get your food. I'm very much missing my Balti pie today. I feel like I've missed out on the prep here. Then, you know, I haven't got my program or anything like that, so it's not quite the same. But as I said, it's great to be able to go on things like social media and again chat with your friends and family and sort of, you know, talk about the game again. It's nice. It just gives that escapism that we've been missing, and hopefully the best kind of escapism. What I haven't missed is that horrible feeling at 5 o'clock when the result has gone against us and you left there stewing for a week. It's been quite nice actually, because the last bit of action was that win at Birmingham. So we've just, you know, been able to reflect on a win for the last few months. So we haven't had any of that sort of negativity.
Well, absolutely, yeah. Certainly a good place to get a Balti pie at St Andrews if you want to, but it's also not a bad place to get 3 points. Let's have a look at what went on last time we were out. That was 3 months ago. was 3 months ago, Reading winning 3-1 away at Birmingham. A few people asking in the chat, can you watch it here? The answer is no, quite simply. You're going to have to go to iFollow, well, go to the Reading FC website and you'll see how to do so. Just a little reminder of how iFollow works. If you are a season ticket holder, you can watch online for free. Just make sure you check your email inbox and junk box if necessary. Get that promo code, redeem it, and watch it online. If you're not a season ticket holder, you can get a match pass, just £10 for any of the games for the remainder of this season. And of course, if you do have any problems, just email ifollow@efl.com and they'll provide all the support you need to get set up. Well, Danny, we're kind of, only how long till kickoff now? 24 minutes till kickoff. This is the sort of time when I'm sure you'd be, getting into the stadium, coming through the turnstiles.
Yeah. Be walking up to the City roundabout now, getting sort of in position and just soaking up the atmosphere, seeing the stands slowly fill out, hearing Club 1871 in fine voice, no doubt. But yeah, it's odd. It's a very, very odd feeling to not be there, but to be gearing up for a game. Obviously, we get used to it as, for away games and things like that, but not for a game at the Matchday. So I said, hopefully we've got something good to tune into and a good result, but at least we've got football back.
Absolutely. As I mentioned earlier, hopefully you can see some of the Stoke City players warming up behind us, and they're a team. I bet you're probably a little bit surprised to see where they are in the table, albeit that they're actually doing a lot better than they were at the start of the season as well, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of these things that you often see teams that have been in the Premier League for such a long time as Stoke were, they come down, and if they don't get the momentum straight away, they can really struggle. You look back at teams like Charlton, like Sunderland in the past, Wolves, and you can have that sort of delayed reaction where you sort of really fall off, especially in that second season back. But you look at their lineup, it's a fantastic team. You've got Jack Butland, who's an England goalkeeper. You've got Ryan Shawcross, who's been there and done it all in the Premier League for Stoke. You've got Nick Powell and Tom Ince, two fantastic attacking players, as well as Sam Klukas. They've got great names, but they're a team in transition. Michael O'Neill only took over a few months ago. And for him, right now he should be, well, he could well be gearing up for a European Championship finals with Northern Ireland. Obviously, he stepped down now just to focus solely on Stoke. So it's kind of I imagine for a team like Stoke, it'll be really good to have that break to get that preparation time in. And Reading can't underestimate. I know the bookmakers have Stoke as the favourites for this game, which shows the sort of strength that they are, even though they're below us in the table. I mean, they are still, we heard Liam Moore and Mark Bowen talking about Stoke and how they are fighting for their lives. I mean, you look at the table, as it stands, only 3 points clear of that relegation zone, although there are, 5 teams below them sort of separating them and giving them that buffer. But it is a very false position. Everyone knows in the Championship how quickly things can change. I mean, look at us, we've been towards the top, we've been down the bottom. It only takes 2 or 3 wins, and they're in good form. Stoke before the break, they were unbeaten in 4. They had a little bit of a wobble before that, but generally there's a lot of wins in that column for Michael O'Neill, and they smashed Hull 5-1 on their last outing, so they'll desperately be hoping that they can recapture that today. Although, obviously, as far as we're concerned, please don't.
Absolutely. Well, Michael O'Neill, a player who spent a little bit of time, I think it was the final season at Elm Park. Are you too young to remember?
He was, yeah, 97-98.
Do you remember him as a player?
He scored in our last ever win at Elm Park, I believe. I think it was 2-0, and I'm trying to think who it was. It might have even been against Stoke. I know there are several Reading historians who are going to be shouting at their screen right now, telling me that I am dreadfully wrong. But no, I'm trying to look it up right now, just for my own peace of mind. Yeah, Reading 2, Stoke 0 on the 4th of April 1998, and he scored the first, and another not quite successful but fondly remembered by some, Michael Meeker, got the other goal. So things didn't go very well for us that season. We ended up bottom of the table and relegated. But yeah, Mr. O'Neill, I'm not going to call him a Reading legend, but he's got a little bit of history, I suppose.
Absolutely. Well, that's the sort of encyclopedic knowledge that got you invited on today, Dan. Well, I mean, as you mentioned there, today's game is the first of that final 9. We had a pre-season, if you like, for this, what a lot of the players are calling a tournament format. Do you want to take a little look at the final 9?
Absolutely.
We start today against Stoke City, that long-awaited game, kicking off in around 20 minutes' time. Then away to Derby in a week's time, a 1 o'clock kickoff. That's the start of this really hectic hectic sort of final run of games. Brentford at home on Tuesday the 30th, they're away to Luton the following Saturday, back home at Matchday against Huddersfield on the following Tuesday the 7th of July. Then just a short hop over to South London to play Charlton, over back to Matchday to play Borough, away to Blackburn, our one long slog, and then on the final day we play Swansea, the time yet to be confirmed. That's a hectic schedule, isn't it? I mean, I know we sort of do it during the season, but there's a lot riding on a very small schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. It reminds me of those early seasons when you used to have so many, especially when the League Cup was 2 legs, and you used to have so many games packed into August. And, we do see it kind of a little bit at Easter, where Reading have to play so many games in a short period of time. But this is the unknown for everybody. The good thing is that it's not Reading facing a hectic fixture list. It's everybody. Everybody's got so many games fit into a short space of time. Players have had that break, so they should be physically fresh, and hopefully they get up to speed, as we talked about earlier, with the match sharpness. But it's tricky. There are some really tricky fixing there. You've got Derby and Brentford, who are going to be thinking about trying to get into the playoffs. Blackburn as well later in the season. Huddersfield, obviously still threatened with relegation. Luton as well. So especially the next sort of 6 games are going to be really tough. Then you may sort of get a little bit easing off, with Middlesbrough and Swansea in our final 2 home games, 2 teams with not a lot to play for based on the table as it stands. But who knows? I mean, Middlesbrough down the bottom as well as it is. I shouldn't say they've got nothing to play for. They've got lots to play for. So, every game, like you say, it's almost tournament football. And the good thing is for Reading fans is that if we do manage to get a couple of wins early doors, then, we're starting to look at the table. But without being pessimistic, if things go badly and we do lose sort of the first 2 or 3 games, then, we are 9 points ahead of that bottom 3. You don't want to get dragged into a late season relegation battle.
We're probably in that position where, as you mentioned there's every prospect to go kind of one way or the other. And I think there's probably a lot of teams who probably feel that a similar sort of situation. There's not many teams who can completely say the season is dead at this point.
No, I think, if you'd asked sort of the media, I think it's actually, QPR, Reading and Sheffield Wednesday, 13th, 14th, 15th, they're probably about the 3 teams, maybe Birmingham in 16th, that you would say, okay, well, they've got nothing to play for. But look, the Championship's anything. If Reading win their final 9 games, that takes us up to 27 points. So that's 75 points. 75 points has got you into the top 6 before. Late 60s has got you into the playoffs in the past before. Do I think it's likely? No, I'm not getting excited with myself. But as I talked about with the team news, I think what you want to see is a Michael Elise take that step forward. You want to see John Swift get back to that sensational form, that's earned him so much recognition. He even made the FIFA Team of the Year. So that's been my Reading fix in the meantime. Get to at least play with John Swift. But yeah, nothing's off the table at the moment. You can't take anything for granted, and it's all about this start. Again, get the win today, you keep looking up. Don't get the win today, and you can't help but get that nervous feeling as a football fan where you're like, how many points are we clear now?
Absolutely. Well, as you mentioned, those 2 names you mentioned there, let's take another little look at the team news, just as a little bit of a reminder as we count down towards kickoff. Raphael in goal. The back 4 is likely to be Chris Gunter, Michael Morrison, Captain Liam Moore and Omar Richards filling the left back berth. Quite an attacking midfield 3, John Swift, Ovi Ejaria and Michael Elise. Jordan Abita, Yaku Mete will take positions on the flank, and Lucas Schwau will provide the target man up front. If that's the right phrase to use, target man. I mean, he's got a little bit more in his locker than just that, of course. So, yeah, I mean, how are you going to be watching today's game then, Dan? Obviously you're going to be on iFollow. You normally watch with your family. You're going to try and synchronise to an extent to get a little bit of a conference call going?
Yeah, I'm going to try and get on WhatsApp, certainly if not for the game, then for half time, and just sort of dissect things. I've not decided if I'm going to try and watch it up here or downstairs. Currently, my 2-year-old daughter is asleep. I'm hoping she stays asleep for her nap time for at least a little while. But that's that unusual dynamic of having, your little one running around while you're trying to watch a game in the middle of a Saturday when you should, be off out with your family and your friends watching the game. So hopefully she plays ball and I get a chance to watch the game. But whatever happens, I'll be, I'll at least have it open on my phone. But that's the great thing about technology these days, is that it is so portable. You can escape anywhere and sort of watch it. But yeah, hopefully I'm not hiding behind the sofa or anything by the end of the game.
Absolutely. A reminder to all the supporters, of course, you're going to have to switch away from YouTube and onto iFollow to watch the game. Dan, I know you'll be doing exactly this in a few minutes' time, but just as a one quick reminder, you're going to need to go to iFollow Royals, and if you're a season ticket holder, you're going to be able to watch online for free. Just enter that promo code that you've received, and if you haven't, email ticketing@readingfc.co.uk. Otherwise, you can get a match pass if you don't have a season ticket, just £10. It's going to be the same scenario for all 9 games for the remainder of the season. And then if you've got any of the technical issues, struggling to log in, anything along those lines, can't get it playing on your computer, iFollow@efl.com. They'll lend you their support. And of course, not only that, but you can watch not just on your computer, but on the Reading official app as well. If you've got an iPhone or Android, just search for a Reading official app, download, and then just log in using your iFollow credentials. Dan, as well, normally as well, these are the sort of games where you'd like to be in the stadium for a minute's applause to show the gratitude to the NHS. That's been a really big deal, and I know that during the course of the afternoon we're going to be paying tribute, as you mentioned earlier. Dan, that's a nice thing from football.
Absolutely, it's great to see the community come together and thank the people that have looked after us. We've been doing the minute's applause on Thursdays, and it's great that football is able to sort of, in our very small way, show that appreciation that everybody across this country is feeling for the key workers, not just with the NHS but around the country as well, that have kept things going and kept us safe. So again, I can't thank them enough. They've done a fantastic job throughout this.
Yeah, you'll certainly see the LED boards around the stadium and of course on the shirts as well. But football's also come together, the 2 clubs here today plus the other 22. They're united against racism. Let's have a little look at this.
There is no place for racism in society.
It cannot be tolerated.
Yes, it has been said before. But this time must be different.
For all of us.
We all want change.
And we all need to play our part.
And stand together in solidarity.
Black Lives Matter.
Football has a role to play.
To demand more from each other.
Equality for all.
Does not mean less for others.
We have to learn from our past.
Take action and speak out.
We have to keep learning.
We will improve.
We will change.
We will drive this through our game.
And our communities.
Let's unite and celebrate our diversity.
For the future of society.
Fight for change.
Racism will not win.
Not today or any day.
Well, we're about to wrap up because not too long until kick-off. Dan, sounds obvious. Score predictions for today, or is it a bit of an odd trying to make that call after
it's difficult. Yeah, I'm still part of as someone that used to run the Tilehurst End, I'm still part of the Tilehurst End Prediction League, and I was asked my prediction for that, and I've gone for 1-1. It's got that vibe of, I think, it's maybe a little bit early, but look, my heart really hopes we can get those 3 points. But my head says I think it's going to be, both teams feeling each other out and getting used this season. So I do think it'll be a draw. But look, if you had to ask me if I had to pick a winner, I do think Reading are the more likely team to win this one.
You mentioned earlier that Stoke are the favourites because of that high quality squad they've got. But like you say, anything can happen in these early games, and you want a kind of quick start to an extent, don't you?
Absolutely. I think we played Stoke in the first game when we were back in the Premier League last time, and we got a late draw through an Adam Lafondra penalty. And it's just about those building blocks as well. If you get those 3 points, as I've said throughout this show, you can start to look, you can keep looking up. Even if you get a draw, you can still keep looking up. So it's just about getting some momentum, because the last thing you want to do is get into a bit where we're coming off a loss and we've got time to think about it. These games are going to come thick and fast. So the more momentum we can keep up, the better.
Last thing I need to ask you, Dan, can you give us a full, I don't have to do a full spin, but show us your shirt a little bit. What era are we talking here?
Yeah, I am talking vintage 2001 West Coast Division 2, old but not the oldest Division 2 era. Think of the Cardiff playoff final. Amazingly, I think this says how big I was as a child. I think I got this shirt as a 14-year-old and it still fits me. So, I've gone for this today. I'd like to say it's lucky, but I did wear it to that playoff final, which anyone who was there knows that it didn't go particularly well on that day. But fingers crossed it can do the job today. And behind me, I've got I'm lucky enough to have a signed shirt from the last championship winning side, and still artwork of some past Reading shirts. So, yeah, and a signed Alex Pearce shirt. So of all the Reading players that I have a signed shirt of, it's Alex Pearce. So, yeah, I've got my little Reading den ready, and hopefully it'll see its first Reading win today.
Fantastic. Well, enjoy the match, Dan. Thank you very much for joining us on the Royal Exchange Matchday Live, and a little bit of a reminder to all of our supporters to head over to iFollow now, readingfc.co.uk/iFollow. Get signed in, get subscribed if you haven't already to that Match Pass, and enjoy the match. Dan, thanks again.
Richard, absolute pleasure. Come on, you Ars.
Come on, you Ars. Enjoy. Cheers.